Okay, is it working? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about gamification. Um, Anyone who has a cat or a dog will know that you can play with them forever, basically. You throw a ball and the dog will chase it. You take a laser pointer and the cat will jump on it. But how long can a human play before they get bored? We know that kids can play for hours, but at a certain point they turn this play into a game. And what does that mean? They add rules, they add limitations. And they do that because that way the play becomes more engaging and lasts longer. And this is basically also what we do when we turn exercise into sport. For most people, running is pretty boring, especially if you want to do this for a very long time. But if you add a ball, you add 4 poles, you put some people together and you add some rules like you cannot use your hand, all of a sudden you have a game. And we know that this game engages people much more. So basically what we do, we have a human-centric approach to solving the problems of engagement, or in this context, an employee-centric approach to solving problems of engagement. And that brings me to the definition that describes it but doesn't explain it at all. Gamification is the use of game design thinking within a non-game environment. We do that to engage people, motivate action, and solve problems. So basically what we do is we take what we know about motivation and engagement from areas like behavioral psychology and also people's irrational behavior to make people participate, individuals and teams. It takes what but before I go on and tell you more about what gamification is, let me tell you what gamification is not. Gamification is not about turning things into a full game. Don't think about a future where your employees will be playing some sort of a Farmville game while they're actually doing their work. Games are very important within the work environment, and there's a big overlap with gamification, but games are focusing on a different purpose. Gamification is also not about just adding some points and badges and putting people on a leaderboard to drive competition. Because if you think about it, for most organizations, competition is the last thing you want to incentivize, because organizations are created to bring people together and to collaborate. Competition is that company down the street whose customers you want to convince to switch teams. So gamification starts with the win-win area. We want to motivate people to do things that they would like to do, but for some reason they don't get round to doing it. And if they do these things, then the organization benefits as well. And we can think about our daily life things, like healthy living and our personal finance. We all want to be healthy and be fit and eat good food, but we also love to have that extra piece of chocolate. Or in this case, we still prefer to take the escalator when we go to the gym. And if you think about personal finance, we all know that saving money it makes a lot of sense because you might be able to buy that big apartment or even think about retirement. But we also love to buy that extra pair of shoes or that must-have gadget. So gamification is focused on motivation, and it's taking place in the real world. So what you do has real consequences. In games, we put people in a virtual world, and here we allow people to make decisions and then learn from the consequences, which include making mistakes and failure. And because if you think about it, when you play a game like Angry Birds and you make a mistake, your brain automatically starts thinking like, what did I do wrong and what can I do better next time to improve that? But in the real world, failure has other consequences. It generates triggers like a bad feeling, stress, or humiliation. And this is why people tend to be risk averse. And when you think about innovation and change, and this is about taking risk, but it's also about minimizing risk. And so this is one of the areas that with gamification we want to focus on. So gamification is not competing with games. They're business tools that serve a different purpose, and they blend very well together, just like online and offline learning. So why does gamification work? Our brains are simply wired to enjoy the experiences that games offer us. If you play a game, then our brain releases a hormone called dopamine, which is very important for the reward-motivated behavior. If a gamer is not learning, then he's not having fun. A gamer embraces challenges. They love leveling up, and they respond to changes in the game or even are the source of the change. Now imagine this for an employee. Loving to learn, tackling challenges to level up, and responding positively and proactively towards change. That's the kind of employee you want to have in a highly competitive industry. I'm sure that people have covered this topic today. An important concept within gamification is rewarding. And when we think about rewarding in the work environment, the first thing that would come up is money. Things like salary and bonus. And these are very powerful forms of rewarding, and we know that they can trigger people to do things. The carrot and the stick are the classical examples of this kind of rewarding. But more interesting for long-term engagement is intrinsic rewarding. And here you need to think about things like autonomy, purpose, and mastery. And these are tools often overlooked, poorly implemented, or they're killed by the extensive use of extrinsic rewards. You can think about a kid making a drawing. They do that because it's fun. They feed their intrinsic motivation when they do so. And when they show it to their parents, the look on the face of the parents, that's the rewarding part. Now imagine you start giving this kid candy for the drawing. Research shows that something changes then. They will stop drawing for their internal motivation, and they will switch to the extrinsic rewarding. So basically they will stop drawing for themselves, and they will start drawing for the candy. And on top of that, the quality of the work also goes down. And this can also happen in the workforce. When you design a rewarding structure that is too much focused on extrinsic rewarding, it's very difficult to keep people engaged over a longer period of time. So to sum up, it's really important that you know what engagement means for you, so that you know how to recognize it, how to measure it, and then eventually how to improve that. Because if you improve engagement, then your whole workforce will become more productive, and also your company culture will increase. You will also know how to tap into the motivational drivers of your employees. And gamification will help you prepare for this changing workforce, but also help your workforce be prepared for any changes that might come. And it will make work just a little bit more fun. Thank you.